Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival episode 46. I'm Enigmius, and today, all the progress. We've been making progress pretty much everywhere, which is nice for a change. We didn't have to stop and go gather any more materials. The last episode we were on Akua, we gathered a bunch of stuff from the environment. We hit a couple of iron nodes and a promethium node, and we also emptied out our old base. We got a lot of stuff from there that we were able to use. And now our base on Omicron, the farm is almost ready to completely plant. You can see we've got a lot of stuff planted already. We've got all of the grow lights in place that we need for the entire farm. And you can see it's kind of expansive so far. We've got some things planted in very, very large quantities. Look at the tomatoes. Tomatoes all day long. We've got durian and pumpkin. That's everything we need for canned vegetables. That's kind of our secret to success when it comes to food, is canned vegetables. We can plant everything we need. We don't have to worry about harvesting anything from the environment, and it's canned, so it lasts for a long time without refrigeration. It's like 6 hours or something like that, real time, without having to worry about it spoiling on you, so that's pretty cool. Then we've got wheat and pear things and coffee and other things that we'll be planting. So we're in good shape. All that we need now to finish this guy is a little bit of what is it? We need nutrient solutions. We have to let some of our food spoil. We've got lots of tomatoes and durians that we picked up off Akua that are really ready for that job. And then we're going to make the rest of the growing plots we need. And we're just going to fill in this area here. And then once it's all planted, we'll have the largest farm that we've had thus far in the game ready for exploitation, or just ignoring it unless we're really, really hungry, whatever it takes. But that's not really why we're here. This is definitely progress, and it's progress of a very useful kind, but we're really here to look at our capital vessel now that we gathered the materials and put ourselves in a position where we could make the things that we needed to make to get it mostly complete. And then coming up with the time to actually make that happen, get it mostly complete. So you can see here, it's mostly painted and textured. The basics, the first pass, we've got everything unified. All of the textures basically the same across the entire exterior of the ship, and then we've got two colors of blue, sort of adding that basic kind of almost finished look to things. It's not finished, but it's pretty darn close, and it's actually to the size now where we can't use the drone to give the tour. It's just too damn big. So we're going to use our small vessel here, which fortunately has plenty of fuel. I'm glad that I didn't dismantle it quite yet, but we do have to turn on the thrusters, and then we're ready. We can kind of lift off and take a look at exactly what we've been doing here. We've got the upper pod complete for the most part. I haven't decided exactly what to do with the top of it. Obviously, it's very flat right now. I don't know if we're going to add some turrets or maybe just some sort of aesthetic detailing to give it a little bit more of a useful and aggressive kind of look. But for now, I'm happy with it just being flat. Over here inside, it's a little bit tough to see because of the glass, but we've got all kinds of things planted. Just like downstairs, the focus was on tomatoes, pumpkins, and durians so that we can make canned vegetables in the field. We're not going to have to worry about food too much, I don't think. I think we're going to be pretty good when we get right down to it. You can see the purple lights inside, the grow lights. It's done. Basically, the farm for our capital vessel is done. And the next thing that you've probably already been staring at is our collection of guns here. Now, this isn't the end-all be-all of our collection of guns for this vessel. We need to add some more, but for now, this is a pretty good start. This is going to be our main sort of setup for when we're out in space fighting, and also it's going to be pretty useful, especially you see these miniguns on the side of the hangar pod for protecting the ship when it's on planets, landed, doing whatever when we're not around. So we've got 8 minigun turrets on the side of the hangar pod. We built a special platform just for them that's very, very robust. It's all combat steel, 3 blocks thick between the top ones and the bottom ones, so that we don't have to worry about damage transfer. If things are firing rockets at us or plasma or something like that, that's got an AoE effect. There's a little bit of separation between all of the turrets, and there's also a little bit of armor between all of the turrets. You can see we've got a little bit built in side to side for some protection there as well. So that's 8 on the side, and then we've got another 5 minigun turrets on the top. that are, again, pretty good for drone defense and will probably see the most use out in space. But realistically speaking, it's about the redundancy. We've got 13 guns on this side of the ship alone, minigun turrets. And the idea, of course, is if we lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turrets, we're still not defenseless. We've still got lots of guns that are able to finish off whatever the bad guys are throwing at us. And that's kind of an important thing to do. And in addition to the 13 minigun turrets on this side of the ship, we also have 3 plasma turrets. And those will also be hopefully useful in space. I don't think you can use plasma turrets in atmosphere. There's a bunch of weapons for capital vessels that you can use. The pulse lasers that we have, the static pulse lasers on the front of the ship, that's an example. You can use them in space, but you can't use them in atmosphere. So I'm not expecting the plasma turrets to be something that's contributing to our success in atmosphere. Maybe they will, who knows, not that big of a deal to me, but we've got lots of guns. 13 minigun turrets, 3 plasma turrets, the same thing on the other side, exactly the same thing, the same layout, the same kind of platform, even the same orientation of the guns you might expect, well, with symmetry being a thing and all. We come around here, it's exactly the same thing. So the sides are pretty well protected. We can also expect that these things will be able to defend the top, the bottom, the front, and the back to some extent, but there are still going to be these really big blind spots on the front end of the ship that I'm going to want to take a look at and take care of. I've still got 4 minigun turrets and 4 plasma turrets that I can add. The turrets are already made up. I don't have to use any more resources to gain access to them. It's just a matter of deciding exactly where I want to put them and how I want to orient them and all that other stuff, so that we've got a little bit more direct coverage for the front of the ship and also the back of the ship, which will be a little bit easier to find room to place things because it's a little bit more open and flat on the back end. But the one thing that we have left to talk about here is the artillery turret right here. And this is going to be, just like with our hover vessels, the manually operated turret that we use to hopefully get rid of the turrets on enemy bases. Now, we're not quite ready to go yet, but the next episode we're going to do our shakedown of this guy. Once it's all kind of at least structurally taken care of, all the guns that we want are going to be in place, everything is going to be ready to go to test the ship. There's a base in the middle of an asteroid field just off Omicron that I want to take a crack at because it's got all kinds of rocket turrets. It's ludicrous the number of rocket turrets this base has. And there would be a great opportunity for us to test not only the layout of the weapons, the kinds of weapons, whether or not the artillery turret is good for clearing out those rocket turrets on the base, or whether we want to use our pulse lasers, which are, of course, right here. There's 4 pulse lasers that are aligned with our control seat so that we can aim them a little bit easier. It's just going to be an opportunity for us to test and see how well we can strip the turrets off of a base in space as opposed to a POI and a planet, and still have everything intact enough that we can go enter the base safely, clear out all the bad guys, and see if we can't get any loot. That's kind of the thing. It's possible this time around that if the base is kind of interestingly built, that we may just take it for our own instead of just carving great big holes in it, beating up the bad guys, taking all the loot, and then ignoring it. So we've got a little bit of work left to do. We have a little bit of ammunition left to make. I want to make sure that we've got plenty of ammunition. I think we're good for minigun ammunition for the time being. Plasma gun ammunition, maybe not so much. We have some, but I'd like to see more. And artillery ammunition as well. Wouldn't hurt to build a few more stacks of those to bring along with us. We've got some, but not much. And between all of those things, gathering the promethium to make fuel cells and the plasma turret ammunition take a little while. But it's not that bad. I mean, the ship is basically done. Like I say, with the exception of those guns and some cosmetic detailing, that's our new capital vessel right there. Now, if we were in slightly better shape, we would take it out and do a little bit of a run with it and see what it can do, but we're not quite there. All of our time for the last couple of days has been spent on getting it up to this point. So the next couple of days will be getting it to that final point where we can take it out and have a pretty good chance of seeing how well it's going to perform, regardless of any changes we make to it in the future or not. So that's kind of where we're at with it. Oh yeah, the one last thing that we have to do is we have to finish adding landing gears to the underside, because it's still only got 2 landing gears right down the middle of the central pod, and then we've got a couple of spindles of blocks on either side keeping it from tipping over, so we have to do something to correct that. And every once in a while I get this idea that let's build really big landing gears that kind of stick down quite a way so that we can fit turrets on the flat side underneath the ship. But then I remember, if we do that, the ramps on the back for the hangars won't come down far enough to let our hover vessels get into the ship. So that's kind of a thing we have to bear in mind. It's only going to sit a couple of blocks off the ground, but we have to make sure that it's got enough landing gears all the way around so that it doesn't kind of tip and wobble and misbehave at every opportunity. That won't take long. That's not a big deal at all. So that's what I've been doing, is getting this guy to the point it is now. And now I got to focus my attention and not get carried away doing too much of the cosmetic stuff. We got to get the final details worked out. Next episode, if you want to be notified when we add it, the easiest way to do that, of course, is to subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media are always in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback on this behemoth. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.